One Zambia, One Nation. To present the main news at 19 hours on ZNBC TV, I'm Patricia Ellis. Our sign language interpreter is Johannes Getana. A look at the top stories in the news. President Edgar Lungu has submitted 4 priority infrastructure development projects to the Abu Dhabi Fund for financing consideration. Police unearth a scam in which opposition political parties working in collaboration with some non-governmental organizations plan sporadic illegal protests around the country. Justice Minister Given Lubinda says the executive is determined to ensure the judgment of the Constitutional Court on ministers who remained in office is implemented once Deputy Registrar of the Court establishes how much should be paid. And acting President Inongawina has described late former Defense Minister Joshua Simuyandi as a hard-working man who was dedicated to serving Zambians. Thank you so much for joining us. And now the news in detail. President Edgar Lungu has submitted 4 priority infrastructure development projects to the Abu Dhabi Fund for financing consideration. And President Lungu is optimistic that the Abu Dhabi Fund for Development will consider the country's request to finance infrastructure development. President Lungu has stressed that to further encourage investment in the country, government is promoting business partnerships between Zambia and foreign-owned companies and institutions, as well as public-private partnerships, PPPs, where synergies are created. He explained that Zambia has a predictable and well-developed legal framework backing investment promotion and protection. And Abu Dhabi Fund for Development Director General Mohammed Saif Al-Suwadi said the private sector is the leading economic driver of any economy, hence the need to support it.
Committed to enhancing bilateral relations between Zambia and the United Arab Emirates, President Edgar Lungu today met with the Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce and Industry with the aim of strengthening investment and trade growth between the two countries. The head of state encouraged the Chamber of Commerce to take advantage of the conducive environment Zambia has and invest in various sectors.
We haven't opened up that much to commerce, trade and industry and investment. So we thought we should come, but we can extend notes. Zambia is a mining company, as you very well know, but we have got a lot of potential in other areas, such as agriculture, energy, infrastructure, tourism, and we believe that you are in that field too, and you have investments in Africa. I would like you to extend to Zambia so that our cooperation can be enhanced. You have had innovations. Obviously, the energy sector in Zambia is suffering because of climate change effects. We are depending on hydro energy, but we believe that we can divert into solar and other forms of energy. Because 90%, more than 90% of our energy is hydro, and with the poor rainfall now, we find ourselves failing to produce enough energy. So we would like to invite the energy sector players in Abu Dhabi to come to Zambia and find space. We have a big country, landmass, over 750,000.
Abu Dhabi Chamber of Commerce chairman explains that the chamber will support the growth of the private sector in Zambia.
Altogether, and see all the opportunity which is coming from the government. That's something that comes here. commodity or other investment, that will be a good idea to see. And then they will ask you. But for them, they will give the private sector. But this is the bilateral relation between the two countries. This is my point of view, Mr. President.
President Lungu further paid a courtesy call on the Abu Dhabi Development Fund, where he submitted developmental projects for financial consideration and called for further investment.
We are doing the bridge technology right now, going into Botswana. So we are about connectivity not only within the country, but we want to connect beyond the country. So that if it's energy produced in Zambia, for example, it can be transmitted into Tanzania, into Kenya, into the north of Africa. Already the connectivity is up to Tanzania. Kenya, we are now connecting to Kenya. So when we have a deficit of energy, Kenya can give us energy and others. So that's exactly where we are. So on this particular road, it connects us to the market. In fact, from there we can go to Latin America, through the Atlantic Ocean and so on. Because the benefit is that from Zambia into Angola, there is no road to talk of. We have been working with the Angolan government to see how we can look for support to do a proper road or a proper rail line to link up with Angola so that we can trade. Because Angola has a rich market. We can supply Zambia and Zambia can supply Angola.
And the Abu Dhabi Development Fund Director General says his government is ready to support priority developmental projects for Zambia.
Project that is a top priority of your government and that we would like us to look at. We usually, Excellency, finance infrastructure projects. We try to focus on those projects because we believe those infrastructure projects play an important and an essential role to economy stimulation, so which is the mandate of the fund. We have also, beside the concessional loans, we do have an investment window where we directly invest, we as Abu Dhabi Fund. The mandate, of course, of those investment is not to be profitable investment. Yes, it has to be profitable, but we look at labor sort of intensive project because again the mandate of the fund is to help countries stimulate their economy. So Excellencies, we're open for any project you want us to look at.
The head of state is on a 2-day working visit to the United Arab Emirates. Faith Mtale, Zanis News, Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates.
Police have unearthed a scam in which opposition political parties working in collaboration with some non-governmental organizations have planned sporadic illegal protests around the country. And Inspector General of Police Kakoma Kanganja has warned those orchestrating the illegal protests to stop or face the wrath of the law. Mr. Kanganja says police have received information that the groupings have also printed T-shirts carrying certain messages and are mobilizing musicians and members of the public to protest whilst clad in the labeled attire. He told ZNBC News that the law on protests is very clear as provided for under the Public Order Act.
I therefore warn all of you orchestrating these illegal protests to immediately stop your plans or face the wrath of the law. I'm reminding you that the law on protests is very clear as provided for under the Public Order Act. It is therefore prudent that all those wishing to conduct any such public activity should follow the provisions of the law. Any conduct to the contrary will attract punitive action from the police, and no one should complain of the consequences thereof. I'm calling upon members of the public to stay away from such planned activities, or they will have themselves to blame. May I reiterate that the police will not tolerate any public disorder orchestrated by any individual or grouping with a view to disturb public order or peace.
The Zambia Army has deployed some troops in Ikelenyi district to discontinue the illegal activities taking place at the Zambezi source. And Zambia Army Commander Lieutenant General William Sikazwe is concerned with the illegal mining activities that are taking place in Mwinilunga district. General Sikazwe says Zambians must be responsible in safeguarding the Zambezi source because other countries depend on it. He said this when he paid a courtesy call on Northwestern Province Deputy Permanent Secretary Douglas Ngimbu in Solwezi. Meanwhile, Mr. Ngimbu has praised the Zambia Army for coming on board by deploying the troops to safeguard the heritage site.
The only worry again is what is happening, especially in Munga. At least people are mining, whatever is happening there, where we're having these problems, where I think we even lost a life. I think last week or the other week. Someone was killed there because people conveyed and they're becoming unruly until one person was shot. I don't know what is happening, and when we check that the people that are doing all these things, most of them are foreigners. So we cannot allow foreigners coming into this country and start inciting our people, the Zambians. So I don't know how these people could be talked to. So they're sensitized. This is the only country that we have. We cannot allow people coming from outside the country to come and influence us, incite us, and then become so negative.
But indeed, if you rightly put it, that has to come to an end, or else we shall be in trouble. The Zambezi River, once it dries up, then we shall be in trouble. Not only us that we protect, even other countries which also benefit from the same. So we need to protect that area because it's the only watershed that we have that protects the Zambezi River. Then you talked about Kasenseri, where there is the famous boat. Yeah, it's really very unfortunate. That place has been invaded by people from outside. Yeah. So for us, General, we believe that the army definitely will have a big role to play there.
Food and Agriculture Organization Country Representative George Okech says the prevailing hunger situation in the country does not warrant government to declare a national disaster. Speaking during the Indaba Agricultural Policy Research Institute breakfast meeting in Lusaka today, Mr. Okech said this is because all the indicators that FAO considers when declaring hunger as a crisis were in the positives. Patrick Mlenga reports.
It is a room for think tanks in the agriculture sector. Their aim is to chart the way forward on how best the current hunger situation in the country can be addressed going forward. The Food Agriculture Organization FAO gave its position on the prevailing food situation in the country.
It's high time that we should tell the cooperative partners what they need to do, so as to avoid what we are seeing now. Instead of cooperative partners telling us what we need to do, how to get the point.
The organizer of the event, Indaba Agricultural Policy Research Institute, IAPRI, spoke through its executive director, Chance Kabaye.
That climate change is real. And therefore, if it is real, we need to find ways of mitigating against the effects of climate change.
Meanwhile, the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, said the distribution of relief food to affected areas is on course.
The DMMU has upped its game. We have expanded our relief basket. We are now not just talking about cereal, but we are also putting in the pulses, and we have partners that are now putting in oils and condiments.
IAPRI research fellows did also give their findings on the food situation in the country.
The country had a positive but very tight, stock position.
We need a bit to have long-term solutions for mitigating the effects of climate change.
Patrick Mlenga, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
The Zambia Democratic Republic of Congo Regional Joint Permanent Commission, RJPC, has called for the creation of the Luapula River Authority as a vehicle for the management of the shared water resource. This came to light at the Regional Joint Permanent Commission in Lubumbashi, which has focused attention on combating cross-border crime in all its forms. Zanis reports.
It has been 3 days of deliberations at the just-ended Regional Joint Permanent Commission here in Lubumbashi. 24 resolutions on matters of security, economy, social and culture have been agreed upon by both Zambia and DRC. A joint communique has since been issued and signed by Zambia's Minister for Copper Belt Province, Jafen Mwakalombe, and his Haut-Katanga counterpart in DRC, Jacques Katwe. Prominent on the resolutions include strengthening of cross-border security, harmonization of the fishing ban on Lake Mweru and Luapula River, opening of a new border between Tanganyika Province in DRC and Northern Province in Zambia.
With regard to the fight against cross-border crime, such as smuggling, theft of motor vehicles, illegal migration, drug and human trafficking, which constitute a permanent threat to the security of both countries, the Commission resolved to remain committed to combating them in all their forms.
The Commission also proposes the establishment of the Luapula River Authority to manage the natural water resource.
The Commission agreed to explore the possibility of creating the Luapula River Authority as a vehicle for joint management of the Luapula River resource.
Luapula Province Minister Nixon Chilangwa calls for the continued interface of technocrats for both countries to attain the much-needed economic development.
It is our hope that our technocrats will continue to consult each other and, where necessary, meet to review progress on the implementation of the agreed resolutions. We need to constantly and tirelessly work as a team.
La cohésion dans notre région et le développement économique constituent la clé de l'émergence d'une société plus prospère et pacifique.
Godfrey Chikumbi for the Nice News, Lubumbashi, DRC.
Justice Minister Given Lubinda says the executive is determined to ensure the judgment of the Constitutional Court on ministers who remained in office is implemented once the Deputy Registrar of the Constitutional Court concludes assessment to establish how much should be paid. Mr. Lubinda says after the assessment, the Debt Collection Department under the Justice Ministry will execute the order to recover the money. Speaking when he delivered a ministerial statement in Parliament today, Mr. Lubinda stressed that there was no breach of the law at the time the ministers stayed in office, saying the law might have been interpreted differently. This was also in response to Katombora, Member of Parliament Derek Livune, who wanted to know if President Edgar Lungu broke the law by allowing the ministers to continue serving after Parliament was dissolved. Meanwhile, Mr. Lubinda explained that the statement was taken only to Parliament now because this is when the matter was concluded by the Constitutional Court. The Constitutional Court has ordered the ministers to pay back emoluments paid to them when the National Assembly was dissolved in 2016.
The state, through the learned Attorney General, applied to the Registrar of the Constitutional Court for assessment in accordance with the court's order as stated earlier. This, Mr. Speaker, for emphasis, is in order to determine what specific monies are liable to be paid back to the state by the affected 63 respondents. 64 respondents. Mr. Speaker, as you may be aware, the second to the 64th respondents in this matter were sued in their individual capacities.
You're watching the main news at 19 hours on ZNBC TV. Just now, we take a break, and after that, more news yet to come. Stay tuned. Welcome back. We continue with the main news. An investigation is underway into how a pro-flight aircraft with 41 passengers on board was struck by lightning as it landed at Kenneth Kaunda International Airport. This happened yesterday as the Bombardier Dash 8 turbo prop aircraft was approaching Lusaka. Details in this report.
It is a story that has already made headlines. An aircraft belonging to Proflight yesterday reportedly flew through a hailstorm and was also struck by lightning. This has been confirmed by the Civil Aviation Authority.
Actually went into a storm. That's the information that we've gathered so far. And then the aircraft was hit by lightning and from the damage that was occasioned, you can actually ascertain that it was a huge bolt of lightning.
But the brevity of the pilot is what has become topical on social media. Passengers have expressed their gratitude for the calm attitude shown by the pilot and his crew throughout the incident.
There was some notice of activity from the cabin attendants in terms of making sure that the passengers were secured, although there was absolutely no announcement, obviously, from the pilot in terms of warning us that this turbulence is very serious. Obviously, that would have meant panic in the air, which they were trying to avoid. So in as much as we thank God for everything else that happened, we also are very grateful that these people are very professional.
But was there no weather forecast given to the pilot? Could the incident not have been avoided? And what are the odds of an aircraft being hit by lightning?
Currently, we've got our investigators on the ground trying to ascertain exactly what happened. And after the preliminary investigations, I think we'll be issuing a statement in conjunction with the Accident Aircraft and Incident Investigation Board, which has been set up now.
Proflight is yet to issue a statement over the incident. Kasabula Muchimba, ZNBC News in Lusaka.
Time now for our health news segment. And coming up on the segment, procurement process for the construction of a modern women and newborn hospital in Lusaka is underway. Details after this message. And now the news in detail. Government says it is concluding the procurement process for the construction of a modern women and newborn hospital in Lusaka. Health Minister Chitalo Chilufya says the hospital will be constructed at a cost of $102 million with the support of the Saudi Arabian government. Dr. Chilufya notes that the Saudi Arabian government has been instrumental in helping Zambia attain its universal health coverage agenda. The minister was speaking shortly after he held a closed-door meeting with the Saudi Arabian ambassador to Zambia, Osama Krenshi, who paid a courtesy call on him at his office. Dr. Chilufya disclosed that the meeting with Mr. Krenshi focused on the visit of specialist doctors from Saudi Arabia, who will be in the country for 12 days.
This hospital shall be a comprehensive women and newborn hospital, and construction is due to begin within the first quarter of 2020. So our meeting with the Saudi Arabia ambassador today also focused on the imminent visit of specialist doctors from Saudi Arabia who will be doing a 12-day camp in Zambia, and will be bringing with them an assortment of medicines that will be used during the camp, and that will also be used in our various hospitals. This will be a period of capacity building for our Zambian doctors, and at the same time a period for intensive service delivery.
That's all we had in health news. Thank you so much for watching.
We all agree that university education is one of the best investments you can make. But the question is, will your university education prepare you for the best career? With a fully accredited degree from Northwise University, you will be set to make the greatest impact possible for your family, community, and nation. There is no reason to wait. Simply choose a convenient study mode, day, evening, or distance e-learning to get started. So call us today on 0960-776-143. Again, call 0960-776-143. Go far with a Northwise University education.
We go for another commercial break, but after that we have education news coming up. Stay tuned. And now education news in detail. Baulani Special Needs Children's School Deputy Head Teacher Esther Soko has bemoaned the lack of teachers at the institution. Mrs. Soko says the school has 5 full-time teachers against 934 pupils. Details in this report.
This is the special needs school in Lusaka's Baulen compound. It has about 900 children and it is sponsored by the Catholic Church. And the Lusaka Ladies Special Group and Save Life Foundation have come to donate to the school. During the donation, the deputy head teacher has highlighted the challenges the school is facing.
Currently,
we only have one sign language teacher. Meanwhile, when she leaves our pupils there, she has to handle other classes to interpret. We hope us employ full-time on the government payroll our assistant teachers.
However, the Lusaka Ladies Special Group and Save Life Foundation have pledged to help the school.
I can assure and promise you that we'll make sure that you get some teachers on the government payroll to come here.
Be coming here, and I can see there is a very much need, and definitely in future also, wherever we can help, we would like to do it.
Sister Yvonne Mwalula is the school project director. She has applauded the two organizations for donating to the school.
So much. May God bless you for showing us this wonderful Christmas gift, bringing this wonderful Christmas gift.
The area councillor Patrick Mwansa has represented the area member of parliament Margaret Mwanakatwe. Mr. Mwansa has also pledged to help the school.
Mentioned earlier to the teachers who specially look into these special abilities that our children have. We also want to say thank you.
The Baulen Special Needs School has been in existence for 20 years now. Charlotte Sijunda, ZNBC News in Lusaka.
That's all we had in education news. Thank you for watching. We continue with the main news. Presidential Empowerment Initiative Fund PEIF National Coordinator Clement Tembo has clarified the funds being disbursed are not only meant for PF members, but for all Zambians. Mr. Tembo was speaking when he disbursed funds worth 100,000 kwacha to marketeer groups at Chilenje Market in Lusaka. Etambuyu Katota reports.
Muzibati mupwanyala mulo kugulishira panja oloba jawali mukati sebapwanyala mulo kinange na mukati no kudisamu sikudisamu kaoda bibaba ndiande kudisamu no 20 kwacha kudisamu. It's because bapoka business wano batantika panja.
The Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA in Southern Province has redoubled its efforts in ensuring road carnage is reduced on the Lusaka-Livingstone Highway. The agency has been conducting traffic law enforcement patrols in the entire province, targeting those with unroadworthy motor vehicles, excessive speed, drunk and driving offenders, as well as checking for compliance of statutory documents. This development is in line with President Edgar Lungu's directive to the agency. Southern Province Permanent Secretary Mwangala Liomba, together with Road Transport and Safety Agency RATSA Acting Chief Executive Officer Gladwell Banda, have joined the road inspectors on patrol. Mike Munkombwe of Zanis has accompanied the team, which has mounted a checkpoint at the Daniel Munkombwe Toll Plaza in Choma District. Mike narrates how the patrols are going on in this report. All right, we will get back to our reporter if we are able to. But we continue with the news. The verification of ballot papers for the December 5 Milenge Council chairperson and 5 other councillor by-elections has been completed. The exercise took place at the Electoral Commission of Zambia, ECZ headquarters in Lusaka. A check by ZNBC News earlier found stakeholders from the Patriotic Front, PF, and United Party for National Development, UPND, participating in verifying the election materials. And ECZ Chief Electoral Officer Patrick Shindano confirmed in an interview in Lusaka that the exercise was smooth, and PF member of the Elections Committee, Annette Malulu, said the party is happy that the exercise has gone on smoothly, while UPND Elections Officer Obert Shivenzu said both parties were cooperating well.
We will have a peaceful election that is going to be credible, that is going to facilitate for an environment that will allow electorates to come out and be able to vote peacefully. We don't expect to have any incidents of electoral violence. Should that happen, to be very regrettable. As indicated, the Electoral Commission has started the process of reviewing the Electoral Code of Conduct, where we will be able to move swiftly in terms of effecting sanctions against any erring political party and indeed any other stakeholder that breaches the Electoral Code of Conduct.
We are doing verification of individual ballot papers
and all is going well. The process is good. We haven't seen any mistakes in the printed ballot papers, and we are now doing individual ballot paper verification.
We haven't got any problem at all. Yeah, we are here and we're expecting this to continue. Just the way we are doing it here, we expect it to happen outside. We are doing it peacefully here. We've got PF here. We are not fighting.
The Milenge Council chairperson seat in Wapula province fell vacant following the death of Fidelis Chanda. The PF is fielding Chanda Masheke, while UPND's candidate is Brave Nsamba. Acting President Inonge Winner has described the late former Defence Minister Joshua Simuyandi as a hard-working man who was dedicated to serving Zambians. The acting president said this in a speech read on her behalf by National Guidance and Religious Affairs Minister Godfrida Sumaili during the official funeral service held at Anglican Cathedral of the Holy Cross in Lusaka today. Ruth Chainda reports.
He once served in different portfolios in the civil service, and former Defence Minister Joshua Simuyandi, who served under Movement for Multi-Party Democracy MMD administration, has been accorded a befitting send-off in recognition of his contribution in serving the country. The former Pele lawmaker also served in foreign service and also as chairperson for the Public Service Commission. Mr. Sumuyandi's death has been described as a blow to not only the family but also the nation.
Through you, I was able to grow to depth and heights I had not imagined. You showed me love, which was the greatest of all.
As we look back over the time, we find ourselves wondering, did we remember to thank you enough for all you have done for us?
The Minister of Religious Affairs, Godfrida Sumaili, represented the acting president Inonge Winner at the church service.
Honorable Simuyandi was indeed a servant of the people. And those of us who had the privilege of interacting with him can attest to this. The numerous contributions that Honorable Simuyandi made to this great nation cannot be exhausted.
And during the sermon, the Reverend encouraged the mourners to remain united and support one another.
She told me that I know that my wife is a prayer wife. But Mufundis, please, let the church take care of my wife, because I know that I'm not going to pull through.
The mourners later paid their last respect to Mr. Simuyandi as they could not hold back tears. Mr. Simuyandi, who is survived by a wife and 9 children, has since been buried at Leopards Hill Memorial Park. Ruth Chainda, ZNBC News, Lusaka.
On that sad note, we come to the end of the news, but before we leave you, let's recap on the top stories. President Edgar Lungu has submitted 4 priority infrastructure development projects to the Abu Dhabi Fund for financing consideration. Police have unearthed a scam in which opposition political parties working in collaboration with some non-government organizations plan sporadic illegal protests around the country. Justice Minister Given Luvinda says the executive is determined to ensure the judgment of the Constitutional Court on ministers who remained in office is implemented once Deputy Registrar of the Court establishes how much should be paid. And finally, in the news, acting President Inonge Winner has described the late former Defence Minister Joshua Simuyandi as a hardworking man who was dedicated to serving Zambians. That ends the news. Remember, Zambia is bigger than all of us. Patricia Ellis. Until we come back again at 22 hours, it's bye-bye for now.